If ADHD was just hyperactivity, you would be in incredible shape by now. Not "I walk a lot" shape, not "I tried yoga once" shape. I mean accidentally athletic, unintentionally shredded. The kind of fit where people ask what your routine is and you say, "Oh, this?" This is just my brain refusing to ever fully power down. Because from the outside, that is what ADHD is supposed to look like. Energy, motion, fidgeting, someone bouncing their leg, tapping their fingers, pacing the room, unable to sit still for more than a few seconds. But if you actually live with ADHD, you already know how wrong that picture is. You are not energetic. You are exhausted, mentally tired, emotionally tired, sometimes physically tired, and somehow still restless at the exact same time. Which sounds contradictory until you live it every single day. You can be drained and wired, overstimulated and bored, desperate for rest, and completely incapable of relaxing. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, you would not feel this tired. Before we go any further, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And while you are listening, tell us in the comments where you are watching from. If you have ever been told you have too much energy while feeling like you are running on empty, you are exactly where you need to be. The stereotype of ADHD has always been physical, too physical. It is the kid bouncing off the walls, the student who cannot stay in their seat, the person who talks nonstop, interrupts constantly, and cannot stop moving. So when you grow up and realize you are not doing any of that, you assume ADHD does not apply to you. Because you are not hyper. You are tired, very tired. But not the kind of tired that leads to sleep. The kind of tired where your body wants to stop and your brain absolutely refuses. The kind of tired where lying down makes everything louder instead of quieter. Where rest feels like a task you are failing at. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, the solution would be obvious. Burn off the energy. Go for a run. Exercise more. Tire yourself out until calm arrives. Except that does not work. Because the hyperactivity was never just physical, it was mental. ADHD hyperactivity lives in your thoughts, in the constant internal motion, in the background noise that never shuts off. It is the brain equivalent of pacing in circles while your body stays completely still. You can be frozen on the couch while your mind is sprinting through memories, plans, worries, ideas, and unfinished tasks at full speed. And that is the part no one sees. They see you sitting and assume you're relaxed. They see you lying down and assume you are resting. They see you on your phone and assume you are wasting time. What they do not see is the internal chaos, the endless planning, the mental rehearsals, the replaying of conversations, the sudden anxiety about something that does not matter right now, the intrusive memory from years ago that appears without warning. Your brain is doing laps, which is why the idea that ADHD equals energy is almost funny. Because most people with ADHD do not feel energized. They feel overstimulated and underpowered at the same time, like an engine revving in neutral, loud, busy, going nowhere. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, you would feel strong. Instead, you feel worn down. ADHD fatigue is not about doing too much. It is about regulating too much, constantly redirecting your attention, constantly telling your brain to slow down, focus, behave, remember, respond appropriately, stop drifting, start working, stop working, switch tasks, finish something, begin something else. Your brain never stops adjusting. And adjustments cost energy. People say things like, just sit still, as if sitting still is the hard part. Sitting still is easy. Being still is not. Your body can stop moving. Your mind does not know how. This is why ADHD is so misunderstood. People look for visible chaos. They look for physical movement. They look for someone who cannot stay in their seat. But ADHD grew up. It learned how to hide. It learned how to internalize everything. So instead of running around, you are running thoughts. Instead of talking nonstop, you are rehearsing conversations internally. Instead of bouncing off walls, you are bouncing between ideas, worries, plans, distractions, and reminders at a speed that makes it impossible to rest. And it is exhausting. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, boredom would be calming. Instead, boredom feels painful, physically uncomfortable, like your brain is itching from the inside and there is nothing you can do to scratch it. You are not relaxed when bored. You are distressed. This is why people with ADHD seek stimulation without realizing it. Scrolling, snacking, switching tasks, opening new tabs, starting projects, abandoning projects, anything that creates movement inside the brain because stillness feels unbearable. From the outside, it looks like distraction. It looks like impulsivity. It looks like laziness. But people are looking for the wrong kind of movement. They think hyperactivity means energy. But ADHD hyperactivity feels more like pressure. Mental pressure. The pressure to do something. The pressure to change something. The pressure to escape the discomfort of understimulation or overstimulation. And the pressure rarely points you toward something useful. It just exists. So you pace mentally. You think about doing things instead of doing them. You open tasks and immediately feel overwhelmed. You plan, replan, and then avoid. By the end of the day, you are exhausted without having moved much at all. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, rest would fix it. But rest does not feel restful. Because when you rest, your brain speeds up. This is why people with ADHD often feel guilty about resting. Because rest feels unproductive and uncomfortable. You are not recharging, you are spiraling. You lie down and your brain decides this is the perfect time to bring up everything you have ever avoided. Your body is still. Your mind is sprinting. So you get up again. You check something. You scroll something. You do something small just to quiet the noise. Not because you want to be busy, but because your brain is begging for stimulation. And then people say, see, you can't relax. But the truth is you are not restless because you have too much energy. You are restless because your brain is trying to regulate itself. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, exercise would solve everything. And yes, movement helps. It helps a lot, but it does not cure ADHD. It does not silence the noise. It does not make boring tasks easy. You can go for a walk and still come back overwhelmed. You can work out and still avoid the email. You can exhaust your body and still feel mentally wired. Because the hyperactivity is not in your muscles. It is in your attention. This is also why ADHD burnout happens, so burnout. Quietly, you spend your life managing an invisible condition that looks like not trying hard enough from the outside. You are constantly correcting yourself, constantly masking, constantly compensating. Smile more, sit still, focus harder, pay attention, stop fidgeting, stop zoning out. All of that takes effort, and no one counts it. So you push harder, you overcompensate, you try to prove you are capable, you try to keep up, you try to appear calm, organized, and functional while internally sprinting nonstop. Eventually, you crash. Not because you are lazy, because you are tired, deeply tired. Another layer people rarely talk about is anticipation. ADHD hyperactivity does not just live in the present, it lives in the future. Your brain is constantly preparing for things that have not happened yet. You rehearse conversations, you plan explanations, you imagine mistakes, you respond emotionally to situations that exist only in your head. So by the time something actually happens, you are already exhausted. Planning feels heavy not because plans are difficult, but because your brain has already lived through them multiple times. ADHD brains treat imagination like reality. This is why people say you overthink. You are not overthinking. Your brain simply does not idle. Most people have a neutral gear, a place where nothing urgent is happening. ADHD brains often skip that entirely. They go from stopped to racing with no in-between. So when someone tells you to relax, they are asking you to do something your brain was never taught how to do. And then they are surprised when you cannot. This is also why ADHD hyperactivity turns inward with age. Children move their bodies. Adults move their minds. The chaos does not disappear. It just becomes quieter and harder to explain. You learn to sit still in meetings while your thoughts bounce off the walls. You nod at the right moments while mentally elsewhere. You appear calm while internally juggling 10 unrelated thoughts. From the outside, you look composed. Inside, you are sprinting. And because no one sees that sprint, they assume you are fine. They assume you are exaggerating. They assume you are lazy. But laziness does not feel like this. Laziness does not involve this much effort. Laziness does not come with this much guilt. Laziness does not involve lying awake planning to be better tomorrow. ADHD does. Another misunderstood piece is emotion. ADHD hyperactivity affects feelings too. Emotions arrive fast and strong, excitement spikes, frustration hits hard, rejection lingers longer than it should. Small things feel big. Big things feel overwhelming. So now you're managing thoughts, attention, emotions, impulses, and expectations all at once. And people still ask why you are tired. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, emotional regulation would be easy. Instead, it feels like running customer service for your own brain. This is why humor becomes survival. Sarcasm becomes shorthand. It is easier to say my brain is chaotic than to explain nervous system dysregulation in casual conversation. One gets laughs, the other gets silence, so you keep the joke. But inside, you are carrying the weight of constant mental motion. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, you would burn energy and feel calm afterward. Instead, you burn energy and feel like you forgot something important, like your brain is still buzzing, like rest never quite lands. That is not failure. That is ADHD. And once you understand that, something shifts. You stop trying to burn off ADHD. You stop blaming yourself for being tired. You stop measuring effort by visible movement. You learn that mental fatigue is real fatigue, that invisible effort counts. That rest may look different for you. And slowly, the shame loosens its grip. If this story feels familiar, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Not because it fixes anything magically, but because more stories like this are coming, stories that put words to experiences most people struggle to explain, even to themselves. And while you are here, scroll down to the comments and tell us where you are watching from, seriously. It helps remind you that you are not the only one sitting there nodding along, thinking, oh wow, that's me. Because now you know something important. If ADHD was just hyperactivity, you would have abs by now. Instead, you have insight, you have resilience. You have survived a lifetime of mental motion in a world that only notices physical movement. And that matters.